I want to see how many of you out there remember like I do. It's 1983. The Port Arthur Lincoln Bumblebees come in and try to take the Jasper Bulldogs out. The Dogs had never been to the district title. Gene Wakoviak asked me, said, Duck, are you ready? I told him, I said, I think so, Coach. Coach Lloyd Weatherspoon grabbed me by the shoulder pads and took me in an isolated room, and he told me to sit down. Let me tell you something. We put in a lot of hard work, and we're not going to win unless you step up. Cream rises to the top, and I know you're going to get us over the hump. You just got to keep fighting over and over again. It was one of the most emotional speeches I'd heard since I ever played football. And it was all going to go down in a Alamo Stadium. So many legendary games, and this night will prove to be no different. A legendary game. Could we get over the hump, ladies and gentlemen? Could we get over the hump? As I made my way towards the stadium, with Coach Spoon walking right beside me, he kept telling me, cream rises to the top. Cream rises to the top. I had so many butterflies, I didn't know what to do. But one thing for sure, I wasn't going to let the dog fans down. I wasn't going to let my parents down. And I surely wasn't going to let Coach Spoon and Coach Wakoviak down. Over and over he kept saying it. Cream rises to the top. If you're from Jasper, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Get in the comments and tell me your story about Coach Spoon. Your story is probably about that track. Oh, right now they've got it flattened out. Oh, do you remember? It was all dirt and it was uphill. And Coach Spoon would run you over and over again. 6.880s, 6.440s, 10.220s, 10.110s. All of this after he had dropped you off on Spring Hill Road. And if you tried to cheat, he'd drop you back off again, even if it was midnight. But when the Jasper Bulldogs track team stepped off of the bus, everybody knew it may be a record. Time after time, he kept producing over and over again. How many stories you got about Coach Spoon and this track? You remember. It doesn't matter how many cars they park out here. It doesn't matter how that new field house looks. You remember being clouded in dust over and over again as he stood there and watched you come around that corner and he counted off 10, 9, 8, and you knew you better get it in gear because he would take you and make you run it all over again. Legends, ladies and gentlemen, they want you to forget about him. But now that I've got my own platform, I'm not going to forget about him. I'm not going to forget about Coach Spoon. I'm not going to forget about Coach Wakoviak. Coach Wakoviak would stand there and watch Coach Weatherspoon run us in the ground because he knew Coach Spoon had a plan. He was going to win state in track, and he was going to make sure Gene had the fastest football team out there. Somebody help me understand why. Why, ladies and gentlemen, isn't anything named after him? Why isn't anything named after him? A legend. A legend. Doesn't make any sense. But I remember, and if you're from Jasper, and you work for Coach Spoon and Coach Wakoviak, you knew you were going to have to give it your all. If you could run a 440, he was going to put you on the mile relay. It didn't make any difference if you was a big man. He'd make sure the big man relay was ready. I want you to think about it as you look at this video. I want you to remember all those days when you wanted to quit. And every time you tried to give up, he'd dump another 440 on you. But when you got to the track meet, they couldn't fade the dogs. They couldn't fade the Bulldogs. Legends like Tony Allen, Clifford Norman, Polly Watt, so many more. You remember, helped produce legends like Brian Bronson. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was great. It was great. Coach Lloyd Weatherspoon. Won't be another one. I'm never gonna forget that night. I'm never gonna forget that night. You were there. You were perhaps standing on this fence. But you knew what was going down. And you knew when you ran track, you had put in the work. Coach Lloyd Weatherspoon. Duck won't never forget. Duck won't never forget. Get in the comments and tell me about your story. I'm out.